Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Cathy Pedrayes, who's here to share with us simple safety tips for your home or business. So are you unknowingly overlooking simple safety tips that can protect your home or business? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Cathy Pedrayes is a safety and cybersecurity expert with a passion for all things home tech. And as a mom, she knows firsthand how important it is to keep your family safe. Cathy brings a trusted voice and real-life parenting perspective to families looking to enhance their home security. With over 2.6 million TikTok followers, Cathy makes smart technology approachable, blending her media presence with practical tips that help households stay safe, secure, and connected. So welcome to the show, Cathy Pedrayes.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, Cathy, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk on this topic. I understand you say we should have safety conversations. What should that entail?
Well, you're right. It's very important, and it's something that we need to discuss with the entire family. But, as a mom, I've recently started thinking about things like whether my kids know how to identify emergencies. Do they know how to respond to them? Do they know how to make an emergency call? So much has changed, and even something as simple as making a call. What do they do if they get locked out of the house? Do they know how to respond in that situation? Or this is probably one of the most important tips, but if something goes wrong, whether it's online or whether they made a mistake, in the physical world, in person, do they have trusted adults that they can go to? And I would say more than one, but these are conversations that we need to have with the entire family, and we need to have them early and often.
Well, now is such the perfect time to do this. And I know they talk about spring being an ideal time to refresh our homes.
Mhm.
What would you say we should include in a safety check, and where do we start?
So start by looking around your home and assessing areas that might have, different safety hazards. And as you're doing this, by the way, write down a checklist so that you can refer to it in the future. But a few things that you might want to look for are maybe tripping hazards, things that might fall. In my own home, I had a cement bird bath that could easily fall over, and I have toddlers. So, that could be something to visit. Gardening, sculptures. Is there standing water? And then also think about what kind of life events you may have experienced recently. So say there was a breakup, say you renovated, say you moved. Are you changing the locks to your home? And I want to share a life hack, because I think a lot of people have quick set locks on their home, and they may not even realize that a lot of their products have the smart key technology. Quickset was actually the first to introduce this DIY technology where you could rekey on your own. So you don't need to hire a locksmith or a professional or change all the hardware. It's actually very easy to do. It's 3 steps. You put in that original key, turn it, put in the learning tool. You'll feel a little feedback. Take those two products out, put in the new key, turn it the other way, and now you have a new lock. You did it yourself in, 20 seconds. So that's something that I want people to really think about as well.
Oh, I love that. When it comes to home improvement, a lot of us aren't really kind of geared that way. So having something that's so easy to do, I mean, how amazing is that?
Yeah. And again, a lot of people don't know that they can do it themselves. It's in most of their products. So you may have this in your home already and not even realize it.
Well, what a great tip that is. Especially, I mean, a lot of times we have people that come in our house, workers that are doing work, and now we've got to think about, okay, are we really keeping our homes safe?
And I'll add, as a mom with toddlers, I have, different people coming in and out of the house in terms of childcare. And I have a smart lock, which also has that rekey technology. But, with the smart lock, that's something I think about all the time is, okay, my childcare changed. I've had things, end well and then things not end well. And being able to quickly change locks or change access codes, in my case, since I have the smart lock on your own, it's crucial.
So, how long does it take to change a smart lock?
Oh, the smart lock is easy because it's just an app on your phone and you could just delete or generate a new one. And then if you're doing the physical key, I mean, I think I'm overestimating when I say 20 seconds, but let's say 20 seconds.
Oh my gosh. And because life happens, relationships change, and we want to make sure we keep our homes safe and secure.
Yeah, and we're talking a lot about homes, but also some people are small business owners. They may have other properties. There might be a shed in the backyard that maybe needs some tools as well. So, yeah, locks have to be the number one thing in terms of safety and security. And there's a lot of technologies that have improved, and take advantage of it. It exists. Take advantage.
Well, I know earlier you talked about really developing a safety plan. So, how can we do that that's age appropriate?
Oh, that's a great question. You really have to meet, especially in the case of children. I have young children, so you want to meet them where they are. If you're talking to a 5-year-old, it's going to be a very different conversation than if you're talking to a 15-year-old, who's online, who, you're probably maybe using parental controls in that case. But I would say the number one thing is really, and definitely take advantage of all the technology and monitoring tools that are out there. But the number one thing is really having an open line of communication both ways and having a conversation, right? Not a lecture, but a conversation where they really feel like they can come to you when something has gone wrong, or even when things go great. And even yourself, as a parent, when I come across say like a scam, I'll talk about it with my teen nieces, my adolescent nieces, and be like, here's what I think about this. What do you think? Do you think this is real? There's a lot of information that's just being flooded at all of us online, but when you're a kid, it's hard to navigate. So actually, as an adult, it's hard to navigate. So just having those conversations, it's really the most important thing we can do, and obviously take advantage of all the other tools that are out there, to help us as parents.
Well, that's so great to do that for parents, having these open discussions with children. For small businesses that are having to kind of reassess their cybersecurity, what would you suggest?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, a few things, and this applies to both in home, whether you have a business or just with your family as well. But first of all, if you have any of those smart home devices or even security apps, a lot of the new security systems operate through apps. Make sure that you're keeping all of those updated regularly. That's how a lot of vulnerabilities get introduced to the system. I'm also thinking about if you have baby cameras. Again, if you've seen the crazy videos online, a lot of that is because the apps weren't updated. So update everything. Then number two, make sure if you have any compromised passwords that you're resetting those, and enable two-factor authentication on any place that you can enable it, enable it. Ideally through an authenticator app versus getting the codes via a text. That's just an extra boost in security. And then speaking of small businesses, I think make this mistake a lot, but revoking access codes for individuals who no longer need those access codes. So whether it's in the home and, maybe you had a change in childcare, like I was describing earlier, or whether you're a small business and maybe you had a change in employment, make sure that you're looking at who has access to your smart lock devices, who has access to your security cameras. It might be something as simple as who has access to your social media pages or your email accounts, that kind of thing. And then in general, this one's more maybe on a personal level, but just unsubscribing to junk newsletters and things that no longer serve you.
Oh, such great advice. For your checklist for spring, when we look at just making sure that we're keeping ourselves safe, what do you have?
Well, actually, I've recently done all of these things on my own, which is which is why when I was preparing for this, I wrote down these tips because I just went through all of this myself. A few other things that I've done in my home is refreshing the batteries on the sensors, the window sensors, the door sensors, the carbon monoxide alarms, that kind of thing, and also my smart home devices. I've I had to redo some lighting. The as time goes on, the bulbs they need to be changed, and so redoing lighting, updating all of that kind of stuff. You can actually even incorporate lighting in your home. So this is something I recently discovered. They actually have door handles and things like that that have lighting built into it. So if you've ever had that moment of waking up in the middle of the night and needing to go to the restroom and you can't find the door handle because it's very dark, these are things, little small updates that can make your life a little bit more convenient, but also safer in terms of tripping hazards. So those are a couple of things that I've personally been doing around my house. Oh, and I also recently checked the pressure on my fire extinguishers. Those expire.
I never even think of that. I've got one and I probably have to go look at it right now. So,
Luckily, a lot of them have the pressure gauge right on it, so so it'll tell you. It's like the green, yellow, red system. It'll tell you if it's still good.
oh, that's good. That's good. I'll have to check that out. For families that are on a budget, what are like three top affordable safety upgrades that you would recommend?
Well, honestly, a lot of what I mentioned is actually free. I mean, maybe things like batteries has some cost to it, but updating your apps, changing compromised passwords. If you already have the quick set technology in your home, that rekey technology is, it's not 100%, but 90% chance that you probably already have that. But if you're looking to upgrade, I would say investing in a good lock for the home is probably a really good investment. And speaking of safety in general, if you have doors that are, a little creaky, windows that aren't locking right, like in general, you want to go through, make that part of your spring checklist too. Go through all the doors, the back door, the garage door, the side door, all of that, and make sure that things are working the way they're supposed to be.
Such great information, Kathy. Where can our listeners go to learn more about this?
I share safety tips on all social media platforms all day long. But for the technologies that I was mentioning, in terms of the smart lock, I have the quick set lock or the rekey technology. There's all types of demos and stuff like that on quickset.com. And actually, they have one of the door handles that has the light built in. It's called the Halifax LED. You can find that on their website too.
Well, I'm going to definitely upgrade. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the show with us here today.
Thanks for inviting me and for taking time to chat. I think this is a great conversation to have.
Well, thank you, Cathy Pedrayes. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about safety tips made simple. Make sure to visit quickset.com to learn more information on how you can be prepared. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.